come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at CONEC-TIONS 50 Plus. I am Terri-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on CONEC-TIONS 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean.
Hi everyone, good evening and welcome to CONEC-TIONS 5.8G Alive. I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, one of the co-creators of CONEC-TIONS 50 Plus. And as usual this evening, with me is my colleague.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. I am Terri-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, another co-creator. Welcome, it's another Wednesday. Happy to be here.
Yeah. And Terri-Ann, this is a very busy week in Trinidad and Tobago. Big
Around
celebrations tomorrow.
Around the world.
Yes, and around the world, yes. And tomorrow is very big, a big celebration, and we are celebrating Diwali. And I must say at this stage, Happy Diwali to all the Hindu community, all those who are celebrating Diwali tomorrow.
Absolutely. Shubh Diwali to all across the Caribbean and everywhere. This like is the pinnacle of your religion, one of the main. And you know what is so beautiful, Jennifer, again about the Caribbean and where we live, is that everyone joins in. Everybody joins in.
Of course.
The openness, the generosity, and COVID hasn't spoiled anything.
No, boy, the groceries line, everybody shopping, all the days for sale. You know, this is beautiful. It's a beautiful time. I love seeing all the lighting around. Yeah.
Yes. Good. So we are celebrating. But Jennifer, we are also celebrating our fantastic forum. Jennifer, we have
to talk about that forum on Friday. You know, your mess, your stress, your tests, and wow, you know, Dr. Gibbons really being covered all areas and had, thanks to those who attended. We had a full house.
Yes,
and it really was wonderful. Very, you know, I would say great insights, very thought-provoking. You know, it had us all thinking, okay, can we change our consciousness or not? Did they look, you know, think about the decisions we have made and what decisions we should be making, you know, do an inventory actually, you know, start writing, start journaling, you know. So yes, Terri-Ann, and we want to, for this session, you know, I would say, if I would say piggyback or take, you know, from what was said, and chat about it on this show, you know, because we really think it is very important for us to share with you what we have learned, all the takeaways from that forum. Yeah.
You know, Jennifer, as we were going through that forum, and I want to say something really to our listeners. And it is at the foundation of why Jennifer and I do what we do. And it came in the program. A lot of us carrying baggage that is weighing us down. But society has it that we must not show our vulnerability. Because if you show your baggage or you show the burden that you're carrying, it's a fact. Someone may take advantage of you, or someone may do you harm, or someone may laugh at you. And as a result, we carry things. And one of the purposes of this forum, this one in particular, we've done the others and they've all gone so well, is this was the one that allowed us to unburden in an objective and, as Jennifer always says, a safe environment, and to hear a professional help us to be okay with what we feel. And as we were going through the forum, Jennifer, I wrote down some words that really punched out because they
Okay.
describe some of the things we feel, but we use a lot of our energy hiding. And I just want to call out a few before we get into.
Sure. Yes.
All right. So stress, guilt, disenfranchisement, anxiety, consciousness, sympathy, fear, responsibility, mothers and sons, overcommitment, undercommitment, advantage, helplessness, loss, bad relationships, good relationships, powerlessness, aloneness, joy, comfort,
Yeah.
self-agency, self-pride, false pride, bravery versus cowardice, open-mindedness, consciousness, shame, friendships, victimhood, depression, community. Now, those words were used in many different ways,
Yes.
and they hit different pain points to different people. And what we realize is that so many of us, as Allison said, we don't have the psychosocial infrastructure of community self-care and the ability to make or keep commitment.
Yeah.
And we really are heading ourselves down a precipice that can lead to a bad place. And our forum saved, but when I do save, not did I, but saved the participants. And I really want to commend those who attend. It's unfortunate we could only go 10 people at a time, but it allows us. And Jen, we thought it was so important that this is going to be, we finished the Sky Gets Dark Slowly series,
Yeah.
and I hope some of those words may have touched some of you out there and would cause you to sit down and pay attention. Pay attention.
Yeah, Terri-Ann, and for this month, we are focusing actually on some of the words you said there, because when you talk about, joy, we're not just going to talk about the stress aspect, but how to de-stress, the things that you can do. And we have our guests going to be coming in to chat with how you can de-stress as we live this life.
But everybody's under stress. So
Yes.
Jennifer, how do we introduce? So this session, let's tell everybody, is just like we introduced our session on, let's reflect back to August when we did identity and consciousness. And then last, we went on and we did the whole listing of the Sky Gets Dark Slowly, and we focused on all the areas. What are we going into now this month, November?
I think the best for this month, November, we would talk about be real about aging, because we need to be real. Because in the forum, we recognize, and you called out the different words that you jotted down there, is that let's be real. Let's be real about where we are and the things that we have to do. So yeah, and we would start this discussion by just sharing with you a very short clip, some of the words from Dr. Gibbons at the forum. And that will really lead us into this nice discussion that we're going to have with you. Well, before we start our discussion, we want you to just take a little listen to it's an excerpt from what Dr. Gibbons said at the forum, which we thought will be a real nice introduction to the discussion we're going to have with you now.
But these are very, very important issues to our lives because we live with this quiet undermining of stress and anxiety, which so easily lead into a depressive state. And we can help ourselves avoid that. And we could talk ourselves into not choosing that road of depression because people slip into that very, very quickly. Minimize the impact of stress and anxiety by continuing to work on ourselves and accept a new consciousness and accept the fact that once we arrive at a new consciousness, we have to make new decisions. And we can't be afraid of the decisions. Decisions are about change, and change is about growth. And as long as we are alive, we are open to growth. And
Yeah.
That was yes.
You know, Terri-Ann, when she said, hey, we live with a quiet undermining of stress and anxiety. Many of us, sometimes we don't recognize the stress. And at the beginning of the forum, Dr. Gibbons explained the difference with stress and anxiety. So we can understand sometimes when we say we are stressed, it may not really be stress. It should be, we may be anxious, or that we may be stressed but not anxious, you know, and that was explained. And
if
yes,
we are anxious, we will be stressed.
Yeah.
Anxiety is stress. But stress,
anxiety follows.
Yes. And stress does not necessarily lead to anxiety.
And a lot of other, you know, insights we get in how we deal with things. And I want to say here, because I also tend to say, you know, I am feeling stressed. Just, you know, you flippantly say, I'm stressed. And when I say that, it's because I cannot handle what is happening to me. You would feel that you want to see a different result of what is happening. And when the result is not, when my expectations are not met, I feel that is stress. And I recognize from the forum that everybody is different. So your stressors are different. And we need to learn how to manage the key aspect, which was we could avoid living like that and not allow ourselves to slip into either being depressed, because depression is something we say very loosely to. We will say we depress. So sometimes we interchange between saying we stress and we depress, or we anxious, and you recognize they are all different levels.
And
you know, different levels.
Feeling depressed is not depression.
Yeah, right? So we could allow ourselves to slip into that depression, or we could take control. And Terri-Ann, I know you have been going through your own trials.
Stress.
And well, stress. And would you say tests?
Stress, test, and mess. Yes. Stress, test,
right.
And
Because we also told sometimes we could go through all three, you know, and this is where the problem comes in. And this is where we need support, and we need professionals to come to help us through, you know, these things.
And Jennifer, I want to say, and this is where we at CONEC-TIONS are going to be very real and level with you. Yeah. The beauty is that fundamental, as we said to this, is being real about aging. Being real about aging. And our cohort, you see this 5.8G cohort, we are the sandwich generation. We are the cheese. And you know, sometimes the cheese tin, and it's two big chunk of bread at the end. One representing parents and one representing children. And they squeeze together. And sometimes they're so bold, they put us in a panini press and squeeze us more and give us some heat. Sometimes we go in the toaster oven. But
we get melted.
We get melted. And I have no problem in describing my stress, my test, my mess now. And it's the counter to yours, because it deals with, and I will give people a short summary of how I see us, and this just to give a context to our discussion. How in one short week, your life could turn totally around. And if you're not realistic about where you are in the reality of aging, how you can mess up things to everyone. Because and please people don't, as we said, I am stressed. I'm not anxious, worried or guilty. The psychologist confirmed that I'm mentally stable. So when you hear this story, don't write and say, I accept your prayers, but I'm okay. And Jennifer will make sure I'm not going crazy either.
and I have to make sure and keep you in check.
In check, yes. So on Monday, my mother fell and at 86, cracked her pelvic bone, ended up in hospital. Because it was a front bone, it wasn't a long hospitalization, no surgery, but she has to be in bed for 2 weeks and then face wheelchair recuperation for a month and then learn to walk with a walker and go on.
Yeah.
So Jennifer, is that stressful? Extremely. She's married to my father, 65 years ongoing. And of course, it's stressful. So she fell on Monday, she was discharged on Friday, and she's home on bed rest. On Wednesday, he falls. He has nerve damage and so on. And he ends up in the hospital. I can't let her know because he is in hospital and the stress is exponential. We get the unfortunate news that his nerve damage, that which he has always suffered with, is probably going to lead to him needing to be in bed all the time. He will not be able to walk. So in 1 week, from last week to this week, their lives have been turned upside down because they were a vibrant, lively, socially engaged, independent couple. And at the end of 7 days, they have become dependent people.
Yeah.
At the end of 7 days, they become dependent people and absolutely needing everything that age demands. And I will tell you, Jennifer, the biggest challenge in all of this for my parents is, it's a blessing and it's a source of stress. They never admitted to aging. They were always so young and evergreen that their minds were vibrant, and anyone who knows them would know that. So now the shock that their 86 and 88-year-old bodies are presenting as 86 and 88, they've not prepared for it. And it is making the transition a little harder. And one of the things that I want to really stress here to us, this cheese, the peanut butter, call yourself whatever. If you want to be cheese, peanut butter, salami, ham, sausage, vegetables, whatever, you're in the middle of 2 pieces of bread. If we
Terri-Ann,
get real, when things happen in 7 days and the whole life changes, we have to get it.
Terri-Ann, I understand, and I know we chat a lot about that.
Your situation is different, but it's
but what I would say on that, and again, it's like all 3 in 1, and it could be temporary because you need to know how to get out of it. When I say get out of it, it's all about your mindset.
Yeah.
So when you have the stress part, you're being tested, because let me tell you, your strength, your faith is being tested. You know, it is really a challenge there. And when you say stress, test, and mess, such as the forum went you really, and mess, and I'm not saying you're messing things that fall apart, but you have to sort of not, and when we say clear up the mess, it is, you have to now go to put things in place, you know? So what I would say here, and that example is that, one, for some people who may have to do it alone,
all
right?
my siblings live abroad.
It piles up. Everything piles up. Even for those who may have siblings here and that kind of support, everybody may not be on the same page. So it caused more mess with that, because some people, and we knew about that, based on and that was touched on, based on personality, They have those who will fall apart and really go into depression. So we have to know ourselves and how to deal with situations like that. We have those who may go to the extreme meaning, say, look, that is not for me to take on, and just put all the pressure on one person and they step back, hoping that if you wave a wand, you will get the solution. So you have the different scenarios, but the bottom line with all that is it is such a difficult situation to handle. And if it is, we are not prepared from before. And be real, and you said it, no one wants to reach a stage as you get old, to be in any sort of situation like that. But the reality about aging, that could happen to any one of us. But Terri-Ann, and I recall, as for the audience, and I say it a lot, I came out of the insurance industry where what we talk about is about death, about disability, and about old age. Those as we describe. Of course, we have the other aspect about savings and goals, etc. But the three critical areas that we ask people to provide for and make sure don't wait is to provide in the case of death, disability, old age. And Terri-Ann, if people used to jump at that advice and face the reality, all insurance companies will be, they may be billionaires now, but the agents may be billionaires. But guess what? And I'm speaking about locally, our social structure, how we have been brought up and think about aging, is that these are things you don't want to talk about at all. You don't face that reality about, oh God, you don't want to talk about aging. Well, don't ask about death and disability. That is like, no, it's a big cross. You have to skirt around.
But Jennifer, that is fine. That is fine. Disability. Don't mix it up with that. Disability is the stand alone.
Yeah, no, but as I said, those are the three areas, and you're correct. Because in some cases we used to say, and I guess I don't know what agents still say, that disability could be worse than death. Because with disability, with disability, if you're not ready, if your mind, you're not ready, it is just traumatic. And could you imagine if that person not ready and the family not ready to deal with it, then definitely that's a mess.
And Jennifer, my thing here is, again, and I'm talking to our cohort, the 5.8G. Your problem, your stress measurement test at 50 to 60 will be different to your stress measurement test at 60 to 70 and 70 to 80. But the problem may not happen to you. The disability, well, that's it. And the crisis may not happen to you. It may happen to someone that you have to care for, who now suddenly becomes completely dependent on you and turns your life inside out. And I can tell you that for every single thing that has happened to my parents in the last week, I have, over the last 3 or 4 years, been talking about to proactively deal with it. But I was not forceful enough to instruct. Now, whether I could or can't is left to be discussed. But it is the same, it's denial in a sense of the reality of aging that we all have to wake up to, because now I am not disabled, but my parents' disability has made me a very significantly not as able as I used to be to live the life that I was living 1 week ago. And so if we don't get that if we don't get that clear in our heads and begin to be more realistic about preparing ourselves for those who we care for, as well as those for those who we care for, whether it's our children or our parents, we who are the cheese and the peanut butter holding the sandwich together, everything could fall down, and we have to be realistic. even if the parents and the children are not. We have to be realistic.
Yeah.
So Jen, I can't tell you how strongly I believe in we are the ones who have to take a realistic view of aging. And what I find, Jen, that we do is we get so many distractions. Instead of facing, all right, my parents are aging and I have a responsibility, or I am aging and I have to change, or there's something going on with my children and I have to change. When we face with those stressors, yes, we can get guilty and overdo, or we distract ourselves by beginning to focus on things that are really not about our problems. So we may get into hobbies, we may get into causes, we may get into programs, and all of these are really walls behind which we hide. And I really want us to remove those walls and face the reality, put contingencies in place, because that's the only way we're going to minimize the stress, manage the tests, and really keep the mess in check.
You know, Terri, and I'm thinking these scenarios are new to us on the stage, you know, that we haven't been there before. And when we look at, in terms of our parents, our grandparents, sorry, look at our grandparents, how our mothers or fathers or parents dealt with their parents. Things were so different then. Things were different then. You know, actually, you may have seen them, you know, they were, for those who grandparents lived with them, or, you know, they were all lying down in a bed. Some of them didn't get up at all. Some they had to take care, you know, things like that.
They were home, they were in the house with you.
Yeah, and there were many people in the house. So somehow we did not see so many other help coming in. We didn't see help coming in. We didn't see any extra railings and the different things in the room. A lot of things that didn't happen, and we weren't aware, and we don't want to confuse our minds, as you said, with that sort of thinking. But when at the forum, and we were advised that these are difficult conversations, but it's conversations we should have now. And even us, you quite right now, you're healthy, and thank God you're able to do the running around. It's a lot of pressure, but, and I am
just stress.
Being
no
pressure was none, but
No
being part of the connection team and doing all these programs, it helped build you up, and you got the knowledge, and you prepared yourself for situations like this, how best to handle it. Those who have not been able to do that, or didn't take, let me put it here, didn't take advantage, or not taken advantage of all these programs and forums that we are creating for these situations. At this stage, it is not too late to have this difficult, as we say, difficult discussion, you know, talking about situations that could leave you stressed, that could leave you, you know, anxious, cause you to be anxious, or even leading to depression, you know. And you have to understand your personalities to know, or who in the family may be best assigned to handle certain situations that may occur. That will only come, Terri-Ann, from discussion. I'm aware too, in your situation, you are in constant discussion with your siblings to try to get a happy medium for everyone. I say happy medium, because you could get all the different sort of advice. Huh?
Let me stick a pen, because all of them looking at this, and again, we open, this is what we are. When you're in the middle of stress, yes, you can have the test, and yes, you can go down the road of depression, but there's a side street most people take before depression, and it is guilt.
Oh, yes, guilt. We did chat about that guilt.
It's more pressure on you personally. And the issue of relatives who are abroad, John Collins, I love you to that. But operative word is abroad, not on the ground. All right?
Yeah.
And very often, yes, you have support, but and you appreciate it, they can't do differently. But what a lot of us do is, I suppose for those who don't want to be depressed and won't get depressed, you go into guilt. And what guilt does is make you not be able to say no, not be able to tell
Yes.
people, I need you to do this, not be able to even look at the mother on the bed or the father in the hospital and said, I need to take a break right now. You have a nurse next to you who will take care of you. I'm going home. I'll see you tomorrow. And in spite of the tears and the whatever it is, go and take care of yourself. Guilt could cause a lot of us to stay in stressful situations beyond our own useful value to the situation. It could cause us to stay in a situation and become less competent because the stress wears you down. Guilt causes you to stay there, and then you become as bad as or worse than the person who suffered in the first place. So
Yeah.
we have to be careful. Before depression, we get to guilt, and then when we get sick. So that, I really want
Terri-Ann, what you're saying there about guilt, and I am thinking, and this may be very foul, but I put in guilt with culture. It is in our culture that you see this sacrificing because we think, and I'm not being a song like you there. I am not. We feel that, okay, our parents, sibling, whoever, our loved ones, right? Our loved ones get into situation, accident, old, and we're old. And we tend to say, oh gosh, they're old, they can't help themselves. We are the stronger ones. They did so much for us, even if we ourselves not feeling well. I mean, I have seen it. I'm in a household with it. I have my sister there with my mom. Sometimes, let me tell you.
99, she healthy, but she's 99.
99. And I tell people, I'm the youngest in my family. So just imagine, everybody old, is considered old, aging.
I'm the youngest also, and I'm going to be 60. So everybody old.
So could you imagine, at times I see her, I would go to support. She's not feeling well, Terri-Ann. And I will say, well, you go on and rest. I would do that. And she said, no, I will do it because she like it done like this. Or I recall clearly, she wasn't well and I am preparing the dinner. She got off from her sick bed. I'm telling you, all of us old, right? She got off from her sick bed because she's in the house with my mom to check to see how I am doing that dinner. Because when I took out this is a truth, this is happening. The toast wasn't toast enough because for me, like it a little more crisp. The tea, it have to be at a certain level in the cup because she like it was full. She could hardly lift it up, but she wanted full. And I am saying, here am I, come to support because my sister not feeling well. By the way, my mom sitting waiting, privileged waiting on her dinner from two old people who tired. All right. But what I'm saying is that culture. You understand? Now, my thing is, and again, because of what we do, Terri-Ann, I tend really to go to the stage of protecting my sanity and keep my calm. So you know what I did when I realized she up and I said, well, you know what? It's okay. You could put the toast back in the toaster and you can see about it. I will just sit here in case you need me. Seriously. Because she was getting herself just stressed, anxious, because that is her personality and her guilt. Because in her mind, she has signed up, as they say, I'm doing a guess. She signed up for that work. You understand? So in her mind, when I come to help, I taken away that, remember you said about power? I am taking away that power from her.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, many of you out there, and I know we do it, because this is like this is what you're supposed to do. And someone will tell you, well, if it's that what your mother wants, well, you have to do what your mother wants, even if it means to your detriment.
Yeah. And that is not a part of healthy aging. If we, as the 5.8G generation, if we are going to be able to take advantage of this, all the potential of the skills and the talent that we have acquired while we were on the second stage, and we are to build a third, we have to have self-agency, as Allison said. We have to have a level of consciousness of who we are. What Jennifer and I want to do in this month and this session is to get us to take back our power to ourselves and our agency, and to understand that we must know who we are. Allison said it, and we can go back to the recording. What is your consciousness? If you approach life unconsciously, constantly being guilty about giving to others, or worrying what people say about you, or sacrificing yourself always, you're going to have miserable lives. And nothing we are saying, let me get to that point quickly, is saying to ignore, abuse.
Please. So it's not about not loving or not caring. It's not about that. Yeah.
But it is about being very conscious of the stress you're taking on, and when you are refusing help because you're feeling guilty, or you're feeling like if somebody might think less of you, or whatever, or you're tired.
Or Terri-Ann, they feel you alone could do it as good to please that person.
Once the consequence of where your mind is leaving you stressed out, tired, and irritated, and less able, or on medication, or in a bed yourself, you are giving away your power to control your life and really make it good for everybody else. And that is something that we in this generation do. And it means that we are not being real about where we are in life, our age, what's appropriate, and all the talent we have, how we could draw. And so that's why I tell you, right now, I am very stressed, but I am not anxious. I am not guilty. I am drawing on a lot of professionals, and people are looking on, and some of them are saying, oh God, but she mad and she father, she dealing with, why is she so?
And that's it. This part that was said at the end, continue to work on ourselves and accept a new consciousness to make decisions. And that's what you're saying, Terri-Ann, and that is why many times we do not make the decisions that lead to a solution. Let me put it that way. The decisions, because out of emotion, out of guilt, we already feeling stressed.
Let me use somebody with victimhood. We spoke about victimhood, Jennifer. We spoke about our unwillingness to take care of ourselves. To sit back and leave everybody, go have a massage. Go listen to nice music. Leave them and take a drive. They have the nurse there, they have the help there, they eat, the pampers change, they turn in the bed. Go and take a break. When you are working, don't you have a lunch break and a morning break and an afternoon break? Self-care. Don't fall into victimhood. And don't shut out your friends. Your friends come around you and they help you, but this is when you put yourself up on the cross. Your martyrdom is your crown. Don't be a martyr, and your friends are coming to tell you, don't do it, but you're throwing them off because you want to be up on that mountain being mattered.
Terri-Ann, let me add this part too. Many times the older ones and our parents, so let me look at that. They really play on our conscience, you know. Their thing is, you know, and I'm saying that like in terms of if I use my mom, she is a really happy soul.
She
loves her life for how many umpteen years. Oh, she loved a relaxation and enjoying her life, looking good, feeling good, right? So from very early.
Because you have to let people know that Dora was a seamstress. So
make sure, no matter what, and this is not about having money, this is about priorities.
Yes.
So she had someone when she couldn't go again, come home to do her money and petty. And we'll talk about services as we go about.
Yes.
Money and petty. She has the hairdresser come still, right? Still.
At 99.
To trim the hair. She's so alert. And I think when we chat again, as we go along with this series, you would understand, you remain alert when you keep active, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right? So the caregiver now has to play the cards with her. She do all these things because let me tell you, she comes first. I have no problem with that. I love that. I always laugh sometimes when my sister gets upset. I laugh because I say, way to go, girl, because I want to be like that. Sit back and be served. And I'm saying it's not about money and being rich at all. It's about your mind, how you see yourself, and you are deserving of that. But we now have to be careful at times to say, well, okay, if we could bring in people to help and give that support, great. If we can't, we have to manage our time. You're still loving, you're still seeing that they get what they need, but we have to see it too. Hey, you come first. So I will joke sometimes with mommy and she said, I say, listen, give me a little break too and let me stretch out.
Let me finish with her money petty, do mine.
Yeah, so I would say, you know, sometimes you say, when you go do this to me, do that to me. I say I will do it, you know, but I cannot do it right now. When I'm doing X, it will be part of what I have to do. I will do it. And she said, okay. My sister now, she don't say okay. She will tell my sister will say, oh God, and did it, and she gets all worked up, and mommy sits back, and she's not saying it's okay. She's not saying it's okay, but she will tell me it's okay. So it's how you know, what expectations you want them to have of you. And in the discussion, as you mentioned, when you're chatting, all as a family, you're chatting, you have to understand and let them know, listen, we all want to live joyfully as best as we can. We want to make sure our elders get the best care. But many of us, and as I said, I buried 4 siblings already, Terri-Ann. 4, you know, at age, no one, my sister was the oldest one who died, was 71. My brother was 50. My other brother was about 40. My sister, so you hear me? So we can go before.
Yeah.
Because we are not in charge.
Yeah.
We are trying our best to stay healthy, etc. But we're not in charge, you know, and tomorrow something could happen. But in the interim, we want to, as we say, be real about our aging, start putting things in place, being prepared, and control our guilt.
Yeah. And few people will have this kind of talk with you. Most people will tell you, well, it's your mother, and you know, oh gosh, you have to do, and I think the love that I feel around friends and stuff is so real. And you know, a few of them understand. They will say, you know, Terri-Ann, you better take care of yourself, whatever it is. But I know that when I start making decisions, because I have serious decisions to make, because you have 2 frail people with very different needs that are at times not compatible, but they've been married for 65 years. So there's no separation of one for the other, but to care for them, I have to separate. And at times it may look like this little girl is brutal. It's COVID. My siblings cannot come as they wish. But a lot of people will not make the right decision considering emotion and short-term discomfort for them both. Short-term discomfort for them both. That leads to trouble because guilt is weighing down on you. You lose your agency over yourself, your power for your own self. You're listening to what other people say, notwithstanding that you know better. You're listening to all kind of, but you're not listening to the doctor. You're not listening to the, like Keith King said, and Dr. Patient said, and Jennifer Rouse said, deal with the experts. And when you really find yourself going bonkers, call a therapist. Talk to a professional. Those are the things that cause us to lose agency, and hire help. Get help. Don't think what people will say. They will say nice things about you at your funeral when your old mommy and your old daddy come in the wheelchair or your children and you've gone through. That is taking back your power and I think that is such an important aspect of living your best life on the third act stage, where everyone benefits and comes along because you remain strong and don't get sucked in by forgetting who you are.
And Terri-Ann, and we mentioned it, I think, at the last, when Dr. Patience, either Dr. Patience or Dr. Rouse, when they were speaking, that we have to manage our expectations because we term it sacrificing or whatever with our parents, and we may expect our children, those of us who have, or the younger generation, to treat us the same. And we may be very miserable when we recognize that they're not. And let me give you and tell you all about it. Just a little joke. My granddaughter was with me when I had to go, go to pray with my mom, and she's there. And we came back home and she said, why Granny's so slow and you have to bathe her? I say, well, when you reach that age, normally you come back like a baby, you can't do things. And she said, you will get like that? And I say, yes. I refuse to ask her whether she would do the same for me because Terri-Ann is scared that she said, no, she's not going to do it. And I don't want to get upset because seriously, it's a different generation. And I'm talking about my grand, I'm talking about my daughters, not my grand. So yeah, we have to be careful and we have to keep chatting and, we have the friends and go to therapy.
That's why we've had this optimist on.
Yes.
There may come a time, and we have to be real people. We have to be real. There may come a time, and Allison talked about it in the forum in detail.
Yes.
Have a plan for living alone. Be proactive. Don't wait until you jump in a situation and whether by death, divorce, accident, spouse, life. People migrate, children migrate. All right? Spouses may leave for whatever reason, or even if they don't leave physically, they may become incapacitated and are not the partner that they were before. Jobs disappear, sources of income disappear. You may end up in a place where you are alone. So how are you going to manage your safety? How are you going to manage your housing? How are you going to manage your health, your wellness, your meals? Think about it. Don't sit down and say, find somebody who will deal with it. Who will deal with it? And we look at places like the Shangri-La Seraphimus home, and it's not a old age home. Sometimes you have to think about, all right, I have this house. Who would live with me in this house? Can I bring someone in to live with me? Can I, if I'm renting an apartment or in my house, is there someone else who owns a house that we can share it? These are the
decisions have to be made. But before we make the decisions, they have to come to terms with the stage you are at. That we are aging and face the reality and be real about our situation. I just want again to reinforce, Terri-Ann, what you said about going to a therapist. Again, I'm going back to culture, using culture very now.
Have to change.
A bit often, because again, going to a therapist, before when you think of going to a therapist, you think you have to be either in a mental state or really, you know, you don't know what you're about. But the fact is, this situation, this stage is new to us. So instead of being totally stressed out or going down the road of depression, seek the help of a therapist. And just, we have the forums. We actually creating forums because we understand we are at this stage. We at this stage, and we have aged parents.
Jennifer,
you know,
full disclosure. When I realized the situation that was ahead of me, I immediately called my personal therapist.
Yeah.
I said, this is what is going on. I need a mental health check-in. I need you to stay in touch with me and make sure. And I'm a person who compartmentalizes very well and may put emotions in a compartment to allow me to be efficient doing other things. And he immediately brought that up and forced me to go into what I was feeling and how I was feeling. And that was so helpful in having me survive the weekend going forward. So when we say deal with therapy, full disclosure, one of the first things I did, get onto, and it's open season. You can jump in at any time to check on me to make sure that things are going as they're going, because I know I am stressed. It has a mess and I am being tested. But one place I'm not going is down anxiety road or guilt road or depression road.
Yes, Terri-Ann. So in addition to seeking the help of a therapist to help you through, and I mean, that was a great decision you made, but let me keep saying that because that's what CONEC-TIONS 50+ is all about. And, you know, I would really like to share just some of the feedback from the attendees, because to show how important it is to have a professional on board, you know, helping us to get our thoughts right and to know, are we doing, what can we do, you know, on this stage? How can we be real? So so let us listen
about
to
where you are in life.
So let me share with you just some of the feedback from the attendees to tell you, well, this is what, you know, this is what the takeaway from the forum.
It was an excellent session.
It was quite thought-provoking.
The areas for me, there was a lot of discussion, a lot of clarity, because I'm still working on me. So a lot of clarity. And so I thank you for sharing your knowledge and time with us.
I appreciated this evening so much. It brought so much insight.
And I love the idea about the inventory and doing an inventory of the things that you have to do. I find that's exciting to look forward to. I like the communication and the negotiation of the arrangements. You know, really practical things that I could do that would help to ease some of the stress. So thanks very much.
The 50+ connection is absolutely wondrous. It has to continue. I have to give much respect for the knowledge that Dr. Gibbons brought to this forum. I appreciate you. I feel as if I know you because whatever you were saying was resonated with a lot of my life changes, and I appreciate everything that you have said so far.
Dr. Allison, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So Jennifer, that was so fun. Now that people understand where we are and we are facing our place in life and the place that those who we care for with reality, you know, we are going to start another series this month. And we are dealing with, we are bringing your age to the front of you. Stop hiding. That's what I'm going to say to you. Stop hiding.
Yeah.
We are beautiful 60-year, 70-year, 80-year-old people. I will not hide my age or change my age or live in a different age for anything. And we are going to make sure that we are great in the 5.8.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so we would be having guests each week, sharing with different aspects how we can really live joyfully, how we can face the reality and be real about aging.
Yeah.
So that would be it would be a lot of fun, a lot of growth and learning.
Yeah.
Let's end by saying a lot of growth and learning.
and as usual, feel free. Send us your aging challenges. Inbox us. Tell us what you think. Really take a few minutes and think, go into yourself and any of those words that I spoke about: stress, guilt, disenfranchisement, powerlessness. You're giving up power and agency to other people. What are the challenges that you're feeling? Because Jen and I are lining up a whole slew of persons who are offering services that are got. Not that we have to go and use the young people service or the old people service, our service to show us that there are options and choices that are to be made, and that we can balance the stress. Cheese is fine. We're giving flavor to this dry bread on both sides. Cheese is fine, or whatever filling you think you are. Doesn't mean we just have to get melted in the midst of everything. Sometimes we hardly have any filling. This is a flavorful sandwich.
and there are many professionals out there offering different services for you to have some fun, enjoy life. And Terri-Ann, of course, Connections 50 Plus is leading the way. So we would share with you just one of our programs that could also help you.
So we're going to have a fantastic month.
Yes.
As good as October was, as good as September was, as August was. So don't miss a single show because we're preparing for the third act stage. So listen to this message from Connections 50 Plus, and we will see you next week when we start with our first class. Bye.
Okay, so bye.
For all you 50 plus people looking for a one-stop shop equipped with dividends to guarantee personal fulfillment, social gratification, and economic well-being, well, we at Connections 50 Plus have a state-of-the-art toolkit especially for you. This is no gimmick. It is an essential toolkit chock full of customized online assessments created by experts to help you greatly improve your life chances. It is the Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Essentials Toolkit. Gain peace of mind, lead an enjoyable lifestyle, plan your future, and make your dreams a reality. For without dreaming, we lose the excitement of possibilities. Dreaming is indeed a form of planning. Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Essentials Toolkit allows you to dream. Seize this opportunity now. Call us at 868-685-8834 or 868-682-9202 or connect with us at connections50plus.com. Dreams are but a shadow of our potential. Let's make our dreams a reality.
Plus Tribe and follow us from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.